The afternoon sun bathed the city in a golden hue, casting long shadows across the pavement. In the heart of the bustling metropolis, Jake Turner knelt on the ground, his fingers gently ruffling the fur of Max, his golden retriever. Max wagged his tail, oblivious to the distant rumble of engines that seemed to grow louder by the second. "You ready for some training, buddy?" Jake asked, his voice warm but tinged with an unshakable sense of unease. Just as he threw the ball, a shadow swept across the sky, blocking the sunlight. Jake looked up, squinting against the glare, and froze. A massive alien ship loomed above, its sleek metallic surface glinting ominously. The air crackled with an unfamiliar energy, sending shivers down his spine. "What the?" Before he could finish his thought, a voice echoed through the streets, reverberating off the buildings. "Earthlings! You will surrender your beasts to us. Failure to comply will result in annihilation." Jake's heart raced. The panic screams of the people around him drowned out the alien's voice, but he could feel the tremors of fear spreading through the crowd. He glanced at Max, who cocked his head, his innocent brown eyes reflecting confusion. "This isn't good, boy," Jake muttered, scooping up Max as he bolted into the nearest alley, seeking refuge. They huddled behind a dumpster, Jake's breath coming in quick bursts as he listened to the chaos outside. "What do they want with us?" he whispered to Max, who thumped his tail against Jake's leg, providing an unexpected comfort in the rising tension. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath them. Alien soldiers, towering figures clad in dark armor, spilled into the street, their strange weapons humming ominously. The leader, a broad-shouldered being with a scarred visage, barked orders in a guttural tongue. "Find the dogs! They will serve as our new weapons!" Jake's heart sank. They wanted to take Max. "Not a chance," he breathed, tightening his grip around the dog. Panic surged through him, but he fought it down, focusing instead on their escape. "We need to warn the others," he decided, rising carefully to avoid being seen. With Max at his side, Jake darted from the alley into the throng of terrified civilians. "Everyone, we need to stay together!" he shouted, his voice rising above the chaos. Faces turned toward him, wide-eyed and fearful. "They're here for our pets! We can't let them take them!" A young woman stepped forward, her face streaked with tears. "What can we do? They're too powerful!" Jake locked eyes with her, feeling an unexpected surge of determination. "We fight back. We protect what's ours." As he spoke, the alien soldiers advanced, their eyes scanning the crowd for signs of resistance. The soldiers paused, pointing their weapons toward Jake, who could feel the tension tightening around them like a noose. In that instant, Max let out a sharp bark, his instincts flaring in response to the looming threat. The soldiers shifted, momentarily distracted. Jake took a breath, steeling himself. "This way!" He led the way into a nearby park, the sprawling greenery a stark contrast to the chaos behind them. As they entered the park, a group of other pet owners gathered, fear and determination mingling in the air. Jake turned to them, his voice steady. "We can't let them take our pets. We have to stick together. Who's with me?" Around him, nods of agreement filled the air, mingling with the anxious whines of dogs and the low murmurs of humans steeling themselves for what was to come. Jake felt the swell of hope in his chest. They were ready to fight. With Max by his side and a small army of determined humans gathering behind him, Jake prepared for the battle that lay ahead. The stakes were clear, not just their lives, but the lives of their beloved pets hung in the balance. The fight for Earth had begun. Jake felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him as he glanced around the park. The initial shock of the invasion still hung in the air, but a new resolve flickered in the eyes of the gathered pet owners. A woman with striking red hair, who he recognized as Sarah, the local veterinarian, stepped forward, her expression a mix of determination and fear. "What's our plan, Jake? We can't just wait for them to come for our pets." The chaos of the city echoed in the distance, punctuated by alien commands and the clamor of frightened civilians. Jake took a deep breath, summoning all the courage he could muster. "We need to create a distraction. If we can draw the aliens away from the other pets, we might have a chance to rescue them." He looked at Max, who sat by his side, unwavering and calm amidst the turmoil. A man named Marcus, a tech-savvy teenager known for his quick thinking, piped up. I've got some old drones in my garage. If I rig them to make noise, we could lure the aliens in a different direction. Good idea, Jake replied, the spark of hope igniting further. But we need to act fast. Every moment counts. He glanced at the growing group, each face a reflection of their shared anxiety but also a newfound determination. We can't let them think we're weak. Our pets are counting on us. As the plan began to take shape, Jake could see the tension building within the group. He turned to Sarah, her eyes full of concern. Are you okay with this? It's dangerous. She nodded, her jaw set firmly. I won't let them take my patients. They're family, just like Max is to you. Jake felt a rush of gratitude. He realized that the stakes were higher than he'd initially considered. It wasn't just about saving pets, it was about preserving their families. With a determined nod, he added, We'll work together. We've got to stay united. The group split into pairs. Marcus and Sarah would head to Marcus's house for the drones while Jake and a few others prepared for the rescue mission. As they moved, tension hung thick in the air, punctuated by the occasional bark of a dog or the distant sound of alien footsteps. The cityscape had morphed into a battleground, a stark contrast to the vibrant community it once was. Stay alert, Jake cautioned as they navigated the deserted streets, his senses heightened. He felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on his shoulders, aware that every decision could mean the difference between safety and peril. Suddenly, a piercing shriek shattered the tension. Jake spun around to see an alien soldier emerging from an alley, scanning the area with predatory eyes. This way! He shouted, urging the group into a nearby convenience store. The moment they entered, a familiar scent wafted through the air. Freshly baked bread mingled with the acrid odor of fear. The soldier's footsteps echoed ominously outside, and Jake's heart raced. We need a plan! A woman in the group, clutching her shivering cat, suggested. What if we create a barricade? If they come in, we can trap them. Good thinking, Jake replied, adrenaline pumping through his veins. They hastily piled up shelves and crates, transforming the store into a makeshift fortress. As the alien soldier's silhouette flickered through the glass doors, Jake positioned himself near the entrance, ready to defend his newfound allies. On my signal, he whispered, eyes locked on the door. With every passing moment, the tension escalated, building to an unbearable peak. The soldier paused, scanning the room, and Jake felt his heart pounding in his chest, each beat echoing the urgency of their plight. Now! Jake shouted as the soldier stepped inside, weapons raised. The group surged forward, a united front against their common enemy. In that moment, Jake realized that he wasn't just fighting for pets, he was fighting for family, community, and the spirit of humanity itself. The clash had begun, and there was no turning back. The air in the convenience store was thick with tension, a palpable mix of fear and determination as Jake faced the alien soldier. The creature, towering and armored, shifted its gaze, scanning for any sign of movement. The atmosphere crackled with uncertainty, and the faint smell of stale chips lingered, a stark reminder of normalcy lost. Stay back! Jake shouted, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. The alien's luminescent eyes narrowed as it adjusted its weapon, a sleek, menacing device that pulsed ominously. Behind him, the others held their breath, fingers gripping makeshift weapons, a broom, a metal rod, even a cat carrier. They were not soldiers, but they were ready to fight. Marcus, any time now! Jake called, hoping his voice would reach the young techie's ears. He could see Marcus fumbling with his drones in the back, the hum of machinery barely audible over the tension. I'm on it! Marcus replied, his hands deftly programming the drones. Just a few more seconds! The alien stepped forward, its heavy boots thudding against the tiled floor. Sarah, beside Jake, glanced at him with wide eyes, her breath quickening. Jake, what do we do if it comes in here? Hold your ground, he urged, locking eyes with her. We've got to show them we won't back down. Our pets depend on us. With a final click, Marcus launched the first drone into the air. The small device buzzed like a furious bee, zipping toward the entrance. It emitted a high-pitched whine, a cacophony designed to attract attention. The alien's gaze snapped to the noise, its focus momentarily distracted. Now! Jake yelled, propelling himself forward. He swung the metal rod, aiming for the creature's legs. The strike landed with a dull thud, staggering the alien momentarily. Get it! Sarah screamed, rallying the group. They surged forward, driven by an unyielding desire to protect their loved ones. Jake could feel the pulse of fear in the room, but he couldn't let it consume him. Together! He shouted, as they worked in unison to push the alien back. The creature fought against them, thrashing its arms, but they were fueled by a fierce determination that left no room for doubt. Suddenly, the drone soared through the entrance, its flashing lights and high-pitched noises disorienting the alien. It turned its attention to the drone, instinctively raising its weapon. Now's our chance! Marcus shouted, and with a quick hand signal, Jake led the charge. They swarmed the alien, overwhelming it with sheer numbers and audacity. The alien soldier fought back, swinging its weapon wildly, but the human resolve was a force of nature. With one final push, they forced it back against the shelf, sending snacks and drinks tumbling to the floor. Push it out! Jake urged, gripping the edge of the shelf for support. They pushed harder, adrenaline surging through their veins. The creature's growls of frustration filled the air, mixing with the sounds of chaos as it struggled against their united front. Let's go! Sarah cried, her voice cutting through the chaos. To the back! We can trap it there! They shifted as one, retreating toward the storage room. The alien, disoriented by the sudden shift, stumbled after them, but they were ready. Jake and the others blocked the entrance, creating a barricade of boxes and shelves. As the last box slid into place, Jake took a moment to catch his breath, his heart racing. We did it! He exclaimed, glancing around at the group, faces flushed with adrenaline and fear. But their victory was short-lived. The alien was not finished yet. It slammed against the barricade with a primal roar, shaking the shelves and rattling the floor beneath them. We need to find a way to contain it! Marcus shouted, panic creeping into his voice. Just then, a loud crash echoed from the front of the store, the unmistakable sound of more alien forces approaching. Jake's heart sank. They're coming for us. We need to regroup and think of a way out of here. As the threat loomed closer, Jake felt a surge of determination rise within him. They would fight, and they would protect their families, no matter the cost. The battle was far from over, and the true test of their strength was just beginning. The barricade creaked ominously as the aliens slammed into it again, the shelves rattling like a cage under pressure. Jake felt the vibrations travel through his bones, igniting a primal fear in his gut. It's only a matter of time before it breaks through, he muttered, glancing at the others. We need to act fast. Marcus, can you get the drones back in the air? Sarah asked, her voice steady despite the chaos. We need a distraction to keep it occupied while we figure out our next move. On it, Marcus replied, fingers flying over his device. If I can get them to buzz around its head, maybe it'll lose focus. He quickly launched the remaining drones, the buzzing sounds cutting through the tension like a knife. With the drones whirring overhead, Jake could see the alien's eyes flicker with annoyance. It roared again, frustration spilling from its lips as it swung wildly, trying to swat the buzzing nuisances away. Each movement revealed the creature's strength, muscles rippling under its armored skin, but they also exposed its vulnerability to distraction. Let's make a run for the storage room, Jake urged, his heart pounding as he eyed the door leading to the back. We can find something useful in there. Sarah nodded, determination etched on her face. Lead the way. We'll cover you. With a final glance at the relentless alien, Jake charged toward the storage room, flinging the door open. Inside, dim light flickered, casting long shadows over rows of boxes stacked precariously high. He inhaled the musty scent of cardboard and old stock, a strange comfort in the midst of chaos. Grab anything that looks like it could help. They scrambled through the clutter, adrenaline fueling their movements. Sarah tossed aside a few empty crates, revealing a collection of maintenance tools. "Here. Hammers, wrenches, these might do something," she said, gripping a heavy wrench tightly. Just then, a deafening crash echoed from the front of the store, and the barricade shattered. The alien pushed through the remnants, its eyes fixed on Jake and the others. It roared, charging forward with terrifying speed. "Get ready!" Jake shouted, adrenaline surging through him. He grabbed a hammer, feeling its weight in his hand. "We fight together!" The alien lunged, but they were ready. Marcus flanked it, hurling a box filled with old batteries, aiming for its head. The creature halted, startled, giving Jake the opening he needed. He swung the hammer with all his might, striking the alien's arm. It roared in pain, stumbling back. "Keep hitting it!" Jake yelled. The others joined in, launching whatever they could find, shelves, tools, even a couple of snack packages. Each strike sent a jolt of hope through Jake, filling him with a fierce determination. But the alien was not easily subdued. It snarled and retaliated, sweeping its massive arm through the air, knocking Jake off balance. He fell hard against the floor, the wind knocked out of him. Dazed, he struggled to rise, but a shadow loomed over him. "Jake!" Sarah shouted, her voice cutting through the haze. She leaped forward, wrench raised high. With a powerful swing, she struck the alien square in the face, momentarily stunning it. "Get up! We need you!" she cried, her eyes fierce. Jake pushed himself to his feet, heart racing. "Thanks, Sarah!" He glanced around for a strategy, spotting a heavy crate labeled "Pet Supplies." An idea sparked. "That! We can use it against it!" With newfound determination, Jake rushed toward the crate, his muscles burning with exertion. "Marcus! Help me with this!" Together, they wrestled the crate onto a makeshift catapult formed from broken shelves, quickly rigging it with some ropes. "This better work," Marcus muttered, tying off the last knot. "On my count!" Jake shouted, adrenaline pumping through his veins. 3, 2, 1, launch! The crate flew through the air, bursting open as it collided with the alien. Pet toys, leashes, and even a few cans of food exploded outward, a rain of colorful chaos. The alien staggered, bewildered by the strange attack. "Now!" Jake yelled, charging forward with Sarah and Marcus. They swarmed the disoriented creature, striking with everything they had. The combination of their determination and the absurdity of their makeshift weapons began to wear down the alien. In that moment, Jake felt a surge of power, the realization that they were not just fighting an alien, but for their homes, their families, and each other. "Keep it up! We can win!" As the alien faltered, Jake saw the fear in its eyes, a flicker of realization that they were not the weak prey it had expected. With one final push, they overwhelmed it, forcing it to its knees. The creature snarled, baring its sharp teeth, but they pressed on. "Now finish it!" Sarah commanded, raising her wrench high. Together, they delivered a final blow, a coordinated strike that sent the alien crashing to the ground. It lay still, defeated. Panting and bruised, Jake and his friends stood over their fallen adversary, a mixture of disbelief and triumph washing over them. They had done the impossible. But as they caught their breath, an even greater fear washed over them. The ground trembled, and through the shattered entrance, more alien soldiers poured in, their eyes burning with anger and intent. "Get ready," Jake whispered, raising his hammer once more. "This isn't over." With determination burning in their hearts, they braced for the next battle, united in their resolve to protect their home at any cost. The fight for humanity had only just begun.